Hello and welcome back to another Stonksy video. Today I'm going to be showing you a feature on Stonksy that you might be overlooking, that is incredibly powerful and of course has an incredibly high hit rate as well. Please do make sure you drop a big like on the video, make sure you subscribe, and of course if you're looking to trade anywhere, make sure you click them links in the description. Sign up to BLOFIN, sign up to BitYourNext, and of course we still are offering a big discount on lifetime and annual plans. You can find that on the website. It's automatically applied on them too when you go into the checkout. Do make sure you pick up Stonksy if you haven't already. And of course, you're watching this video and want to get this indication. But what we're going to be looking at, of course, is on Bitcoin. Now, at the time of recording, we have dropped down pretty significantly over the past week to 8 days. Of course, we're just kind of doing this stair step down where we drop down, consolidate, drop down, consolidate, drop down. So as you can see, it's been a really steady sell-off. And we are currently hanging around the prior lows of August, so we are in a pretty interesting zone at the moment. Obviously, do make sure if you want to join in on chat on, with this, you jump into the live streams every day, or of course join Stonksy where you can chat to us in the Discord server. But what I do want to look at today is the oscillator. So as you can see on the oscillator, we revamped the oscillator. If you haven't already, do make sure you check out the videos on the channel, which I'll show you now. So I've created a new playlist on the channel. It is explainers, tutorials, and best videos. Basically, a playlist where I can collate everything. That includes, obviously, tutorials on how to best utilize Stonksy. But of course, the new updates that are very significant as well. So it's a nice little place where you can go and obviously find the best videos that we've put out, using Stonksy. Now, of course, the one that you want to be looking at for this one is the big trading signal. So that is the one where I discussed this feature originally. And as you can see, it's been on the channel for over a month. But what we're going to do now is obviously go back to Bitcoin in its current price action and have a look. So if you don't know, we are talking about the oscillator, which is at the bottom here. So I'll just make that a bit bigger. And we are looking at these arrows. Now, as you can see, obviously, we've had bullish and bearish confirmation in the form of arrows on Stonksy for the best part of all of this year. And then, of course, in the oscillator overhaul that we did, where we gave it a big overhaul, added new features, made it increasingly more usage for looking at the market. We added these on the oscillator. And in that video that I did, I went back and obviously backtested the past handful to 10 of the previous indications that had come on the oscillator, and the hit rate on it was massive. Off the top of my head, I think it was 80 to 90%. So what we're going to do is go back and obviously have a look at the recent price action in August and see exactly what's happened on Bitcoin, because we've obviously had a big push up and then we've come all the way back down. So we're back to a starting point after ripping to all-time highs. Now, as you can see in here, we had a red arrow coming. This was on the uptrend, so this one was no good. So, of course, this was fighting against the trend. So that one came in, which wasn't a success because we wasn't in an uptrend. However, when we originally topped up here just above 122k, we did have an arrow come in. As you can see, that came in right there on this candle, around 121,500. We then, of course, proceeded to drop down $3,000. So that is a huge success on that one. We then got another one just in and around the all-time high. As you can see, it came in on this candle here, around 123,000, maybe just a bit higher, depending on obviously where you got in on that candle, or obviously following it afterwards. If you've had alerts on these, you can set alerts on them, then you may have got the alert straight away, but maybe you'll have only caught it an hour, a couple of hours later. So you could have got in anywhere, obviously, in this region. And that, of course, laid into the start of what has been, a very strong and aggressive downtrend in the price. As you can see, that red arrow came in, and we only got another one in the form of a green one down here at around 114,000 odd, maybe 115, depending on, again, where you get in on this. But that is obviously traded down from all-time high and caused the original aggressive drop-off, but then, the subsequent drop-offs that came after that. So then we did get a green arrow come in. We got a green arrow come in here, and obviously in and around the bottom or after this drop that we had, which then caught a nice bounce up. This caught a bounce of around 1,500 in the price. But if we relate that to what is currently a local bottom on Bitcoin here, so let's just take this candle and we'll just pick somewhere in and around that. So that obviously caught the 1% push up this morning at the time of recording. Currently, obviously, Bitcoin's dropping back down. But again, you can see that it's catching the bounces in the market and, of course, caught the drop-off. Now, again, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to close your trade based on these. If a green arrow comes in, you could hedge long. You don't have to close your short. You could hedge long. Same for the opposite side if we was in an uptrend. But you don't have to close it. You know, you could leave this running. Obviously, if you'd have got in up here on this one, close to all-time highs, you may think, right, I'm going to ride this all the way down to here with the view maybe we come back and test the early August lows. Or potentially you believe the top's in and Stonksy is potentially there caught, you know, a top on Bitcoin in terms of a cycle top. If that is your belief, then Stonksy has got the indication there. Proof is in the pudding on the 1 hour. There is the bearish triangle. And of course, prices proceeded to drop down. What is currently, let's give it a measure, around 9-10% so far. So that's a huge success and obviously a massive indication on Stonksy. Now, of course, this feature is just one to go alongside the oscillator itself. But as you can see, it provides massive value. And if we went back and checked, let's go and have another look. So we had a green arrow come in here in late July, which then led the price from 115,000 all the way up to just shy of 120. Then after that, we're going back and we had one come here, which again wasn't a success. The price was in an uptrend. So that is only two of the indications that we've looked at that haven't been profitable. The rest of them have been profitable, which gives it obviously a really high success rate and a really high level of accuracy. So you can see exactly how beneficial this is. Now this is on the 1 hour that we're looking at, and you can transfer this over to Ethereum, Solana, whatever it may be. But it really is a high value indication that we've got on Stonksy following this. Now these are separate obviously to the arrows that come in on the actual indicator. So it's up to yourself obviously to decide whether you want to follow the oscillator, whether you want to follow the ones on here, or you know, maybe simply you want to follow both. That is completely fine. Of course, as you can see, we've got two nice ones coming here to rip it up, and then obviously to the downside as well. But the 5 minute has been absolutely superb. I just want to cover that. The 5 minute, when we zoom out, has been absolutely fantastic as well, particularly obviously when we look at these double confirmations. If you don't know what that is, come over to the new playlist and click on Mastering the 5 minute chart video. It gives you a full explainer of what we dub a double confirmation. Basically, it's when you get a background indication followed by the arrow confirmation on the indicator itself. And as you can see, we had one here which leveled off a bit. Same here. This one caught the push up. This one caught the next leg down. This one caught the relief bounce. Again, caught the drop there. Caught the drop on here. Again, this one caught a little bounce here but closed around break even. This one went against the grain, but that's the only one that we've seen that actually was in a loss so far. So again, high accuracy on this 5 minute. This one caught a push up, but again, depending on where you close out, maybe it was around break even, maybe for a small profit. And of course, most recently, we caught the next leg down that we had yesterday at the time of recording. This caught the leg down from 114,000, of course, all the way down to 112, but closed obviously just above that. And on this previous couple of candles, we've just had another 5 minute red background coming. So it's something I'll be watching out for today, seeing if we get a bearish confirmation on that, on the form of the triangle, for maybe if we're going to go lower on Bitcoin. But as you can see, massive value. But yeah, did want to pay tribute to oscillator indications because it is a massive indication that potentially people are overlooking, or if you haven't tried it, do come and try it out. Now, if you do want a cheaper option on Stonksy, you can get the oscillator only. So it means that you just get the oscillator at the bottom here and Discord access, and that is obviously for a very cheap price of just £44. But like I mentioned at the start of the video, the lifetime and the annual are discounted 35% off at the moment, and that is automatically applied at checkout. So thank you very much for watching today. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Do make sure you drop a big like on it, and of course I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.